Hello and welcome to Odd Sock Comics. This is my new comic book day haul for Wednesday, August 28th. And I realized earlier, a couple days ago, I realized that I didn't put a video up last week. I actually did film a video, but I never got it uploaded. Was traveling all weekend, don't remember exactly what happened, why I didn't actually upload it. Probably recorded it and then just forgot to upload it. But regardless, I didn't upload it, and so I'm going to go through a couple of things. I'm going to start out with the brand new books this week, and then I'm going to just show a couple of other things that I picked up. I did have a couple of interesting things come up this weekend. So first up, I have this is Venom number 17, the Absolute Carnage tie-in. And I really liked this story. Obviously, it's going pretty well, and it's tying in very well to Absolute Carnage. It feels like a continuation of the story that fits in perfectly. The big reveal, something that's been talked about a lot, is that Sleeper, who was the offspring of Venom from Nativity, which I can't remember what issues that was, 165, 164 from the previous Venom run, and then Venom First Host, which kind of came out after Venom number 1 started. I don't remember the exact timing, but that became Sleeper. And Sleeper has reappeared and is going to obviously be important in the story. A couple of really sharp people recognized Sleeper right here on the cover, and people have been talking about this for a while. But sure enough, Sleeper shows up in Venom number 17. To me, that's pretty exciting. That's cool. I have the first appearance of Sleeper, that whole Venom First Host. I actually think I have the second printing. It's the first cover appearance of Sleeper. When that came out, I wasn't quite sure what my collecting style was, and I was buying a lot of spec books. Didn't know quite what to do, and I actually bought way too much and a lot of junk. But I've since toned myself down, and I'm a lot more careful about it. But I did buy those, and maybe I'll recover some of the money I threw down the drain during that time period. We'll see. I'm not in a real hurry to get rid of those. But anyway, getting back to it, I keep taking this away. The story was really good. Very good tie-in, written by Donny Cates. Fits perfectly in the storyline. Like you can't tell Absolute Carnage from Venom, one or the other. I think I know the pieces. I have a prediction of the pieces that are going to fall into the Venom run, and I think that's very interesting. And I'm really looking forward to this. Very good book, good read, fantastic art, really good, big, high concept. Love it. Okay, next up, the other Absolute Carnage book for the week. This is Absolute Carnage number 2. This is the Cult of Carnage 1 in 25 variant, I believe. And this is also Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman, I believe, on the interior art. So it feels exactly the same. Definitely same kind of action, just non-stop action. And there's some really cool stuff going on as well. I really do. I've really enjoyed this. I mean, it's just cool stuff. So anyway, definitely liking the Absolute Carnage run. Carnage came out. When was the first appearance of Carnage? Issue 361? I don't know when that came out, but that was big when I was a little kid, and I remember Carnage being super creepy. So that one is one that I definitely like. Okay, let's see. Next up, I have. So this is a little bit weird. I haven't bought this book very often. So this is Red Hood Outlaw number 37. Don't really know what's going on. I did like the cover, but I bought this. This was another spec book, and I'm not really that interested in it. But I didn't have a lot of books to buy this week, and so I decided to pick up an unusual one. And this one has the first appearance of, I think, all of these characters. I'm not sure if some of them have appeared before, but this is Cloud9, who apparently people are excited about. There was some talk of this character here, which I believe is DNA, and they were talking, it's the first non-binary. Well, it's not that it's non-binary, it's that it's not human, it's a strand of DNA, but whatever. And that one, I personally, I've got some opinions on the non-binary situation. I'm not going to get all into it, but when you're talking about something that literally has no gender, it definitely makes sense to use different pronouns. It is kind of, when they're a person, it doesn't quite make sense. So if you've got something that's alive, that has no gender, there is actually a need for new new pronouns. So that actually makes sense. I don't want any made up, bizarro pronouns, but they is kind of a nice neutral one that I think works pretty well. Other than it gets confusing because it's plural as well, so got to be careful about it. Anyway, my wife is a linguist, so we've had many conversations about closed categories and structural ambiguity and all of the ambiguity that poor use of pronouns generates. So have quite a bit of things to say on that. It's not as clear cut as what's politically correct and what's not. There's a lot more going into it than simply political correctness. All right, next up I have Batman Curse of the White Knight. Loving Sean Gordon Murphy's story. I like his art. This one, there's some really interesting stuff. Let me show you. Let me see if I can pull this out. I've decided I'm going to try to do a little bit deeper dig into some of these books. Try to pick out my favorite parts. Maybe show those a little bit more. Look at this. That splash page. That is just awesome. Azrael, bright red. Just absolutely fun to look at. Definitely contrasts with the rest of the book that's a lot duller. You've got the fires are absolutely explosive, and then everything else is kind of dull. Very interesting, very fun book. Interesting read. It connects some older historic stuff with Batman. Obviously, this is just the Sean Gordon Murphy universe. This is not part of standard continuity, but he is not tying things together, but creating this mythos of Batman in a very interesting way. It's a lot more historic. It's a lot more tied to Gotham. And in my mind, a lot less... well, we'll see. I honestly don't know where it's going, so I don't want to get too far into that. All right, and finally, my last book for a read this week, I got House of X #3. This is the flower variant. I got this strictly because I'm a fan of Jean Grey. So I get... if there's a good Jean Grey cover, I'll get it. And I love this costume. Which one is this? Is this the 50s? 60s. Anyway, this is her early costume. I do like it. 70s. What am I talking about? Honestly, I can't remember. I've got, let's see. It's her second costume. I've got them all up in front of me, which would be 60s, 70s, 70s. Why did I say 50s? Because I like the pinup style in the 50s, but that's definitely 70s. Whew! Sorry, I get into these things sometimes. The fun thing about this one, well, honestly, this was almost disappointing. There's an explanation of the alphabet. And the thing that drives me crazy, I wish they had not done this. If it was a more complex code, this would have been amazing. But all it is a substitution cipher. It's the easiest kind to break. It's not that interesting. I think this one says next, it will be done, or something like that. And it's just one-for-one letters that you can translate out, which, I understand that kind of simplicity is more accessible to people. It feels cool, and it feels like something that you've got to solve, but there's no actual complexity to it. It's just an extra step. I kind of like the idea that there's something truly hidden there that only a few people will be able to extract, and it's not something that everyone can do. That would have been more cool in my mind. But just a simple substitute cipher, meh. I was a little disappointed to find that out. The story itself, pretty cool. We get Sabretooth. Obviously, this is the full performance production of Marvel. They're doing really well. There's the right amount of conflict and action mixed in with a lot of character development and a lot of interesting stuff. Still, obviously, really digging the House of X Powers of 10 event. First time I've liked to read X-Men, so that's something cool. All right, so that's it for new books, and I picked up a couple of older books. First, I will show you, I picked up Trump Punch Man. This book, it's black and white on the inside. I would not recommend it to you at all. The only reason that I picked it up is because it's Timothy Lim doing the cover. My son loves Timothy Lim. Just if you like this kind of stuff, obviously it's a little more anime style. He's pretty flexible in what he draws, but he definitely does a lot of the anime type stuff. But he's got a new Indiegogo out right now. That is a GI bunny. It's called Black Hops. This is issue 3, but each one kind of holds its own story. It looks great. The art is great. It's fun. I've already ordered it for my son and a couple of other things to go along with it because my son is a Timothy Lim fanatic. I love that. I love being able to bring him into comic books, and Timothy Lim has helped with that from the fan experience as well when my son got to meet him in person. So very cool. My son is a comic fanatic because of this guy. I'm helping the industry move forward, getting the next generation involved. So I buy him when I see him. Okay, next up I have The Avengers number 247. Now, I heard somebody reference this book as a connection between the Avengers and the Eternals. And I thought that sounded really interesting. It's kind of a standalone in the story. I don't think it ties into anything before it or really anything after it. But I grabbed it, I read it, I don't really get it. It's kind of in the middle of a lot of historical stuff. Honestly, it took me a long time to figure out who the characters were. Monica Rambeau is in there. Firefox, I can't remember who it was. The Wasp is one of the Avengers. This is a period of the Avengers that I just have zero concept of. I do like Monica Rambeau as Captain Marvel. But definitely, I don't know what's going on. It's fine. Vision's there, Scarlet Witch is there. Monica Rambeau, the Wasp, She-Hulk. I didn't even see She-Hulk here. Apparently Thanos is supposed to show up in this issue. I read through the whole thing, did not see any reference to Thanos, did not see any pictures of Thanos. Don't know what they're referring to, but whatever. I thought that that's an interesting one that, might have connected the Eternals to the Avengers. Interesting. Just one I picked up. It was $3. Probably too much to pay for it, but once you can't find it online. You pay that much to get it. You pay more than that to get it shipped. So, $3 is fine. Okay, next up. Okay, so first I'm going to go with Vampirella number 2. This is the Artgerm cover. I had such a hard time finding this book. I went to 3 local shops. None of them had it. Went to the first shop, opening day. This is cover A from what I remember. I actually kind of want to check. I've never pulled it out. And I'm not going to pull it out. It's taped closed. I am going to open that up and read it because I want to read Vampirella as well. I'm actually getting all of the issues. But had such a hard time finding this cover, and I think it's cover A. I don't know if just everybody wanted just this cover or what. But I did end up ordering it online. I had to pay like $7 including shipping to get it to my house. Sometimes that's what you got to do. But I did get it, needed it, happy to have it. Really nice cover. One that I can't put up on my wall because I've got kids, but still really cool. And then this is kind of cool. Okay, so this is Hercules, the Thracian Wars number 5. This is the Artgerm cover that I did not know existed. Now you can see the price tag up there. I paid quite a bit for this. I've looked around. It's really hard to find. Low. I don't know how high the print run is, but even this, there's a couple of variants of this book. I think there's at least one other and maybe 2 others. It's a low print run to begin with. It's Radical Comics. It's not a mainstream book, and I just have not seen this. I've had an eBay search up for it, and I think I've seen one of the variant come up in the month or so that I've been keeping an eye out for it. Anyway, here's the story. I was driving this weekend, and we drove through Denver, and I was like, hey, one of the biggest comic book stores, if not the biggest comic book store in the world, is in Denver. Kiddos, do you guys want to go see the biggest comic shop in the world? Yeah, okay, so we all get out and we go to Mile High Comics. Iconic place. I've bought books from there online. I've had them shipped. They take forever to ship, a lot longer than anyone else because they have too many books. But I've seen them. I've seen reference of them. I know a little bit about it. So I take all of my kids to Mile High Comics books. I went in there and, cool experience. But man, Mile High Comics is not a store to buy comic books. It just is not. They have quite a few. Obviously, I found a book that is hard to find. They have a really good selection of back issues. But every single book in the back issue bins is like $8. I think I saw some that were maybe $6.50, but they're expensive in the back issues. They did have dollar bins, but they were all completely garbage books that I didn't even bother to look through. They were not in bags and boards. They were all 90s garbage. Most of them were independents from the 90s. And there were 2 tables of them. There was a lot there. Then I went and looked at some of the bigger books. I've been looking for Marvel Spotlight number 5. I was like, I bet if they had it, it would obviously be at probably slightly above market prices, kind of retail price. So I doubted that I would buy it, but maybe they've got it. And I went looking around, and I'm sure that they do have it, but they didn't have it anywhere accessible to me. But I did see a couple of other books, and every single one I looked at was just ridiculously above market price. There was a copy of Amazing Spider-Man 50. One of my favorite covers, probably on my list of books to get. I know that it's expensive. It's just a cool book. I love it. I recognize it. Everyone knows what that cover looks like. Red cover where he's walking away in the background and facing you. Walking away in the background, walking towards you as Peter Parker in the foreground. Cool cover. Anyway, that book, in pretty decent condition, might be worth like $1,000 or so. They had one that was like a 4.0, very good condition, for $2,400. I don't think I've seen one sell for that much ever anywhere. So, not a place to buy comic books. Not even really a cool place to go see comic books. I was glad that I found this, but you gotta overpay for stuff. Anyway, so there's my review of Mile High Comics. Not worth it. Don't go out of your way. Don't expect to find anything interesting. Okay, so that's it for comic books that I picked up in the last couple of weeks, or in the last week. I've got a few from last week. I've got a few more. I'm going to go kind of fast through this. I'm going to start here. I'm sorry if I'm making a lot of noise. Okay, so first up, I loved Daredevil number 10. I told you at the end of Daredevil number 9 I was worried about how they were going to treat the situation. They treated it very, very well. They didn't make it into they didn't treat it lightheartedly at all. They didn't treat it as an obvious or anything. They treated it in a very realistic way. Like that a lot. There's not a lot of action going on in there, but whatever. All right, I've got Batman number 77. Big controversial issue. Spoiler, everybody knows by now. But big event, if true. a lot of people thinking that. So if it's true, Tom King just really messed up Batman. If false, then Tom King just led us all on a wild goose chase again. So we'll see. It's pretty obnoxious. Just Tom King being Tom King. 8 issues to go. Can't wait for him to be done. All right, new books. I did get Absolute Carnage versus Deadpool. Number 1, I got the Codex variant. This one was okay. It's the first of a series, so I think there's going to be 3. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to see Deadpool in there. He did it's funnier than I expected. I haven't read a lot of Deadpool, so kind of enjoyed that. I did like the cover. That's a Clayton Crane Codex variant. I got the Virgin variant of Powers of 10, number 3. I've actually already sold this. I'm going to ship it out as soon as I'm done with the video because I got it for a pretty good price, and I was like, do I really want to hold on to it? Now I'll just buy the basic version. So I just resold it because it was taking up too much of my money. It's not really a collector book that I care to have. I'll just go with one of the normal copies. But anyway, I got it. Done with it. Happy, whatever. And then I picked up this book, Pretty Violent. And the only reason I picked this up is for the Ryan Otley. Ooh, looks like I'm not focused. For this Ryan Otley cover, which I appreciated. It reminded me of Invincible, which was one of the first series that I read when I was getting into comic books. I actually started reading it before I bought any comic books to see if I liked reading comic books, and I did. So that's why I got it. I opened up the book, did not like the inside of the book. This book I also have already resold. I'm going to ship it out in just a few minutes. Okay, then I got a few in the mail. I told you this is a lot of stuff that's come. So I went to Red 5 Comics specifically because I liked the concept behind the Dark Age. And so I picked up the Dark Age. And then to try to make shipping make some sense, I read through a couple of the other books that they had available, and I also picked up The Rift. That sounded like an interesting storyline. They're both really interesting stories. The Dark Age, all metal is destroyed and they have to rebuild civilization. Cool stuff. The Rift, there's a plane flies through a time rift from World War II, crashes in a little bit more modern time. Really interesting stuff. Cool concepts. This is obviously one where they're writing the books trying to get movie deals or TV deals or whatever. I don't mind that as long as the concepts are cool and the art is good. But Red 5 Comics, being the good people that they are, also sent me the free comic book day variations of those at no cost. That's kind of cool. Appreciated that. And I've got one last that you can kind of see showing up here. I picked up X-Men number 205 and Uncanny X-Men number 493. This is the first and second appearance. Ooh, why is the name escaping me? Is it Hope? I think it's Hope. Anyway, if I messed that up, I got these. I can't remember the price. I think I paid $15 for both of them. Pretty happy with that. I've had my eye on this one for a while, and I was happy to get this one along with it. There was kind of a lot of hype around it with the Deadpool movie, where Cable's daughter, first appearance of Cable's daughter. Cable's daughter did show up, but then she died in the movie, and so they don't, is she really going to be an important part? It kind of faded down. I like it because I like this whole storyline. So, anyway, I like this book. I picked them up. I like the idea of them. Plus, the art's pretty cool. I like that cover. But I think that's it for the books that I have this week. I know this one was pretty long. Let's see. I'm trying to keep things pretty clean here. Keep it mostly focused on actual books. I've got a couple of concepts that I've been thinking about. Like I said, I'm getting more active in selling some of my books. These two I've already sold. This one I put up, but if I can sell it, fine. I'll buy the cheaper version, just a regular version of this book. But I'm really trying to strip down what I'm collecting and what I'm holding on to into speculation, runs, and then the artists or the ones that I keep for some other reason. And I'm trying not to just build up a mass of books that don't connect to anything else in my collection. So I am getting rid of things if they don't fit. So that's kind of fun. I intend to have 3 long boxes, one for each of those, maybe a little bit more than that, because I think that my art germ collection is going to be bigger than 1 long box. But that's it. The one other thing, I have a couple of art germ books that are on the way that I ordered straight from art germ. So the Marvel 1000, I didn't pick that up this week because I ordered the Marvel 1000 from art germ. And I think that's it. I'll show that one off when it arrives, and I've got another book from there that I'm excited about. I'm still looking for Marvel Spotlight number 5. I'm looking to spend $300. I've upped my price range. I will spend up to $400 if the copy is good. So if you guys have one, where I can find one, or if you've seen one, somebody that might be interested in selling, let me know. That would be cool. If I can get one for the price that I would pay on eBay, and the seller doesn't have to pay the eBay fee, I'm all for that. But just let me know. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. A lot of books today, a lot of things to talk about. But it's always fun. Comic books are fun. I enjoy reading them. I enjoy hunting for them. And I like passing it on to my kids. So thanks for watching. Happy hunting.